Hello students, welcome to English lecture. Today we will start a lesson in your course book, that is 1.2 On to Summit. Now if you look at the image, then you can realize the meaning of the title. On to the summit. Summit means the topmost peak of the Himalayas, the mountain, and how the writer experienced this thrilling experience in his life, how he was successful in reaching the top. That is described here in this lesson. So you can look here that how difficult it is to climb the mountain. So the author of this lesson is Tenzing Norgay. 29th May 1914 to 9th May 1986, that is his duration. He is known by birth as Namgyal Wangdi, that is his real name, and he is often referred to as Sherpa Tenzing. So he is famous for this name, that is Sherpa Tenzing Norgay. So he was a Nepali Indian Sherpa mountaineer. You know that some years ago Nepal was our own part, and that's why these Nepalis, these mountaineers who take birth in Nepal, they also call themselves Indian. So that's why he is called Nepali Indian Sherpa mountaineer. Mountaineer means one who climbs the mountain. He was one of the first two individuals known to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Now you know that Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. And these two persons, they were the first two individuals. So for the first time in the history, they reached the summit of Mount Everest. And he was one of these two individuals. Now which he accomplished means became successful with Edmund Hillary on 29th May 1953. So in this lesson, he talks about his own experience of reaching the top of the mountain, that is Himalaya, that is Mount Everest. Now some honors, some medals he got for his work. So Tiger Medal, so he got this medal in 1938. He was honored by Himalayan Club with this medal. And why? Because for third Everest expedition. Expedition means that is the project undertaken, ज्याला आपण मोहीम म्हणतो. So that was his third Everest expedition, and he got this honor, this medal by Himalayan Club. Then in 1953, he was honored by this medal, Star of Nepal, and he was honored by King Tribhuvan. King Tribhuvan was the king of Nepal, and he honored giving this Star of Nepal award and for his all accomplishments. Accomplishments means achievements, success. Then he got Padma Bhushan award in 1959 by Government of India, and it was for all his successful expeditions in Mount Everest. So Tenzing describes the climb to the top and all events occurred during the historic climb. You know that this was a historical moment in the world record of mountaineering, because it was the first achievement of the mountaineers on the summit of that Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world. The article also describes what brought him to climbing mountains. So, what experience he got and what feelings he had when he reached the top of the mountain. So, that is described, that is narrated in this lesson. Now, we will start the lesson. On to the summit, we reach the top. So the writer is describing his own experience, and that's why he refers himself and Hillary, Edmund Hillary, as we. So when we left camp, we means here the writer Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary. When we left camp 9 on Friday morning, so they left the camp. You know that there are so many camps in between, and you have to successfully climb those camps. We should reach those camps, base camps, and then you can start your expedition. You can start your mountaineering. So this 9 camp was very important. So when we left camp 9 on Friday morning, I was determined to get to the top on this day. So he had firm belief, he had firm faith, he was determined, he has decided firmly that he will get to the top on this day. So he would be successful, and that was determined by him. Determined म्हणजे निश्चय करणे. So here you can see the quality of determination, the quality of strong desire, the quality of having strong willpower in the person. That morning, I remember thinking I was to get to the top even if I die. So he was ready to die. And he was not caring about his death, but he was caring about his success of reaching on the top. So he remembered that day that he was thinking, I was to get to the top even if I die. So look at this dedication, look at this determination, look at this strong willpower that even the person was ready to die in the attempts. I was not afraid to die that day. So he had no fear of death. We set out early, and all the way from camp 9 to the peak, we alternated. So, alternated means here they changed their positions, they changed their roles. You can see here Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay after reaching to the top. I would take the lead and then Hillary. So in this way, they alternated the leading position and the anchoring position. So I would take the lead and then Hillary. The man who follows when climbing has a difficult job both in climbing up and climbing down. So climbing up and climbing down as an anchor is very difficult because the man is following another person. The man going in the lead cuts the steps and breaks the way. So what is the role of this leading person? That he cuts the steps and breaks the way. So he finds out the way, he makes the way, and he cuts the steps. He cuts the ice for making steps. So this is the role of lead person, and Tenzing Norgay was taking the lead, and here Hillary was following him. He was after him, and this role of anchoring, that is Hillary's role, is very difficult. In my pocket, I had 4 flags. So they decided that yes, they would be successful today and they will hoist the flags of 4 nations. So in his pocket, he had 4 flags. When we were still at Camp 4, Colonel Hunt gave me 3 flags, those of Britain, the United Nations, and Nepal. Here you can see that how these flags they look like. Britain, Great Britain's flag, then United Nations flag, and then Nepal's flag. And you know, of course, that tricolor flag of India. He charged me with the duty of planting them on the top of the world. So he has given the duty to Tenzing Norgay that when they would reach the top, and they would plant these flags, they would hoist these flags on the top. And that was the top of the world, because the peak of the Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. These three flags are in your care. So he said, when you and Hillary reach the top, put them at the peak. I'm sure that you and Hillary are going to do it. So he was also confident, Colonel Hunt was also confident that they would be successful in this mission. And so he handed over three flags, that is Great Britain's flag, Nepal's flag, and United Nations flag. I told Colonel Hunt that I was carrying the Indian flag with me. So here, see here, that the writer had love for his own country, that is India. And that's why with that love of patriotism, he told Colonel Hunt that I was carrying the Indian flag with me and I would like to be on the top with the other flags. So he would like to hoist the Indian flag also because he was Indian. I had to ask Colonel Hunt's permission in his capacity as leader of the expedition. So Colonel Hunt was the leader of that expedition, that project, and that's why he had to take the permission of Colonel Hunt whether he should hoist the Indian flag or not. Colonel Hunt said, by all means. I am glad to know that you brought an Indian flag. So Colonel Hunt gave the permission very easily and said, yes, you can carry Indian flag also. So here you can see the devotion of the writer towards his own country, his love, his patriotism towards his own country. Patriotism means love for one's country. After 1 hour of steady going, so they were steady. Continuously, they were climbing up the mountain. We cut across from the south face. So he is giving the direction that south face and started up the west side where we had to pass up a steep line of rocks. Steep means nisardi ashi. Steep line of rocks. This was slow and difficult. So their pace, their speed was very slow because this was steep line. Once we had cleared these, there was nothing barring our way to top but a snow-covered incline. So this was the difficult step that they had to pass that steep line of rocks. And there was nothing then barring our way. Bar to bar one's way means to have the difficulty in one's way. Sloping less and less as it neared the top. And there was a steep slope. अगदी निमुळतं उतरतं असं ते टोक झालेलं आहे. And it was really difficult to climb up such a steepy line. You can see here steep line of rocks and snow covered incline. So totally it is covered with snow and it is very difficult to climb up. These last 60 or 70 feet up, the top were not very dangerous. So 60 or 70 feet up only was remaining, and he says that it was not very dangerous. But we kept up the same steady pace. But they kept up the same speed. And we reached the small, flattened summit almost together. And they had patience. That's why they kept the speed in the same way. And after all, at last, they reached the small, flattened summit, that is peak, almost together. During the last 50 feet from the peak, Hilary and I were moving about 20 feet apart. So sometime Tenzing Norgay was ahead, sometime Hillary was ahead, but there was distance of 20 feet. We were tied together with a rope. So this is very compulsory for those mountaineers that they should be tied together with a rope. So most of the time the rope was loose, but when we went over dangerous ground, we drew it taut. So they took it very firmly and they tied themselves that so that they would be carried together. थोडक्यात या माउंटनवर जाणं इतकं सोपं नाही आणि दोघे एकमेकांना दोरीने बांधलेलं आहे, याच्यामुळे दोघे एकमेकांच्या सोबतीने वर जातील. So you can see here the image of reaching the small flattened summit. So this is small flattened summit of the Mount Everest. This rope was a symbol. It tied us together. So it was a bond between these two. It was like a relationship between these two. It tied us together. One could not move without the other. So one could not say that, yes, I will go ahead. No, both should go ahead. We were not two individuals, but a team. So they were not separate, they were a team. I have been asked many times who was first. When we were within reach of the summit, I did not think of who was going to be first. So they had no idea in their mind, or they have no thought in their mind that who would step first on the summit. I am sure that Hillary was not thinking that. So both of them, they were sure that when they set foot on that top, then they would be together. Climbing takes all your attention. So he says that you haven't any self thought or you haven't any selfish thought that who would be first. You don't think or you don't compare yourself with others because your all attention is taken up by climbing, because you have to concentrate on climbing only. So there are no other thoughts. You have many more important worries when you climb up the mountain. And here it was the top mountain peak. So students, this was the first part of this lesson, that is, on to summit, we reached the top by Tenzing Norgay. I hope you might have experienced the thrill that they had to face while climbing up so highest mountain in the world, and you will really enjoy their experience again in the remaining part of this lesson. I hope you will read this part once again and then you will write down the difficult words or unfamiliar words in your notebook so that you can enjoy the meaning of this lesson. Thank you. Thank you very much.